I think anybody who watches this won't know the battle that we went through to have a conversation
Well, at least we will,
between
right?
this and the first time. Yeah, we will. I won't forget anytime soon. But yeah, I'm glad that you're doing well. Appreciate you coming back so we could kind of get this accomplished since we kind of dropped the ball last time. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm glad you're here.
Thanks. No problem.
So let's start out today and just talk about your background prior to this NDE, prior to where you are now. Where'd you grow up? What was your religious background, for example, before you went through what you went through?
Okay. So I was born in Idaho, and my family moved to the Billings, Montana area when I was in first grade. And that's where I grew up, basically, is in Billings, which is where I live now, is just outside of Billings. My husband and I my husband was born here and grew up here, but since we've been married, we've lived a few different places around Montana, and we've also lived in St. Louis, Missouri, or at least that area. So I was born into a family who were members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Some people know them as Mormons. I consider myself to be a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, and my parents were not active in my religion, but I was born just always knowing that there was a God, and the teachings of my religion resonated with me. There were just things that I was taught that made sense to me. And so I can't say that I haven't had an overly religious upbringing. As I mentioned, my parents were not participating members of our religion, but they were baptized members. So what I knew of my religion was through family members who lived elsewhere, and, just kind of the bits and pieces of conversation we would have from time to time, or just watching them conduct their lives and the little bit of exposure that I received from them. So, tell me what more you wanted to know about my upbringing.
Well, I'm curious. There have been some really interesting near-death experiences within the LDS church.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, that was one of the more intriguing ones that I heard, was Jeffrey Olson, I think.
I know Jeffrey.
Yeah, pretty fascinating because it's you have the NDE and then you have a shared NDE within that case. So it's really interesting. And I wonder from your perspective what the LDS view on near-death experiences is like.
Well, I think for members of our religion, especially if they have, if they're participating in our religion, I don't think anybody understands their religion well if they're not studying it or practicing it. But for those of us who are practicing our religion and familiar with its teachings, I don't think what we experience, or at least I guess speaking from my own personal near-death experience, that I was surprised by some of the things that I experienced because they didn't contradict what I had already been taught. So in my near-death experience, which I've shared with you previously, but when I was taken back to heaven and shown some of the things that I had experienced previous to this world, that actually walked hand in hand with what I had already been taught. I had taught that we had existed before this life and that we had chosen to come to this life. There was a lot of things, though, that I saw during my near-death experience that went beyond confirming what I believed. I had no idea that we knew God and had interacted with him like I saw we did. I didn't realize there had been as much preparation for this world and so many choices made by each of us as to what we would experience. And quite frankly, even though I had believed in an existence prior to this life, I really was blown away by the amount of intelligence we had there previous to this life. I think that all of us here in this mortal existence can't help but just have those limitations of understanding because we're not allowed to remember that. You know, we are here for a learning experience and to grow, and sometimes we don't understand that. You know, for example, when we go through really difficult experiences, my observation has been, why do I have to go through this? Or, it's, I think, commonplace to pray, please take this away from me, or please heal me, or please, fill in the blank of whatever that difficult experience is. And then when we get beyond that experience, when we're able to look back on it and we're no longer right in the depths of all that difficulty, I don't know of any.
Let's maybe we'll just start from where you left off. You said that you had the 4 children, you've adopted 2 children, running 2 businesses. Is that right?
Correct.
And this is where you start to experience the depression you were talking about.
Correct. Do you want me to continue from there?
Yes, yeah. If
Okay.
you don't mind.
So I was struggling to function at all. Our businesses were suffering. I knew we were going to lose them if I didn't have a turnaround. The doctors that were treating me had essentially given up on me. They told me that my migraines were all in my head and I needed to seek therapy. Because of my severe depression, I already had sought therapy and was in therapy, actually. And so one of my depressive triggers was financial issues. Anytime I felt like we were in a situation where we would not be able to take care of our family or provide for those family needs. It would just cause my depression to um, to get worse, and for me to have a major depressive episode. And on this one particular day, I had several calls from bill collectors. And so each call was a little bit of a trigger, if you will. But the final call I received was from a woman that had what I will just diplomatically call a lack of empathy. And I tried to explain to her that I was trying to do the best that I could, that I was experiencing depression. I wasn't able to function as I wanted to. I requested that she please work with me and have some patience. And she lit into me and told me it was all in my head. It was my fault. I had depression because I wanted to have depression. It was just an excuse. And she told me what a deplorable human being I was. And that just it just allowed me, if you will, to buy into the inner dialogue I was already having with myself. And I felt like she's right. I am deplorable. I am horrible. My family would be better off without me. And I just knew I was at the end of my rope and that I couldn't do anything more to assist my situation. And so my depressive mindset was convinced that my family would be better off without me. And so I have always felt a very, very big presence of God in my life. I've just always known He was there. I knew that He loved me. I knew He had blessed me. I knew I had a wonderful family, but I was failing them. And I was in so much pain physically from the headaches and the other issues I was then experiencing.